same offensive line that was still Mike. Did Zion Nelson start at that game? I believe he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zion started every game last year.
Every game, yeah. So it was still an offensive line that was in flux, but 13 pressures in a game is ridiculous. And he also had a couple sacks to boot as well. So, this has been he has had decent games, some really good games against Miami the past couple of years. So he's probably the one guy that they're going to game plan against. And again, I want to see that run game going again, man. Let's get back to where Harris and Cheney and Knighton were pulling off 4 or 5, 6 yards, a carry. And I think that was when the offense was at its most dangerous, in my opinion. Not what you see in the past few weeks. I think when that run game is just when they're getting downhill, it's going to open up so much, especially when it comes to the zone read from Derek King and things of that nature. It's going to allow Brevin Jordan to sneak behind the defense. It's going to allow those receivers to sneak over the top of, over the safeties and stuff like that. So this is a contest where they're going to have to neutralize Rump, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not really sure what the problem with the running game is. I mean, I've gone back and watched the film. We played some good run defense teams like Pitt and so on and so forth. Do you think it's more so the offensive line not making that push that they were in the first, 3 games, or the running backs not seeing the holes? Because, I mean, the first 3 games, Don Chaney and Jalen Knight were really showing us something. Cam Harris looked like a lock to declare early for the NFL draft.
Right.
But since then, the run game, if it's not for De'Aaron King, then we literally have no run game. What do you think is the biggest contributing factor to the lack of a running game?
I think Clemson laid the blueprint that a lot of other defenses followed. And if you go back to that Clemson game, Clemson wanted to make De'Aaron King the passer. They wanted to make him throw the ball in the air. They wanted to take away the run game. They wanted to make him a pure quarterback. And defenses started to follow that. If you notice, that was the game where the run game got stuck, and it really hasn't been the same since. Pittsburgh followed that same blueprint. Virginia did the same thing. I think teams are approaching Miami wanting to make De'Aaron King beat them in the air. And the thing is, he's been doing that. So it's not like they've been really it makes the offense even that much more difficult to defend, because it's now you're making him stay in the pocket and throw the ball, and now he's beating you with 4 touchdowns a game and 300 plus yards. So now you're really on your heels as a defense. But I think that's probably the biggest factor. Teams are just wanting to make him a pocket passer.
Okay, and so, I mean, what do you think we could do from a schematic standpoint to kind of get our edge back in the running game?
Well, I would like to see, well, for one, I think the run game needs to be established early. I think that's something that Brett Lashley has saw, and he's adapted to it. He sees that defenses are trying to take the run game away, but I think you still need to factor it in early. One thing that I love about even going to the NFL, we see what Derrick Henry is doing, and we see how Derrick Henry is able to pull off those big chunk runs in the third and fourth quarter. Well, that's because in the first quarter, he's being fed. They're really not getting big plays there, but defenses are they're getting hit, they're getting pounded, they're getting punched in the mouth early. I think that's what this offense needs to do. Still establish the run game, even if it's getting 3 yards a carry, maybe 4. That's fine. It's going to open up in the second half because teams are they're going to the tempo is going to wear them out. You're talking 80, 90 plays a game. Imagine yourself being a defender. You just ran 90 plays in the fourth quarter, and now you have to try to stop, Cameron Harris. So I think that is going to be what Miami would have to do. Just even though they're not getting big plays, just establish it. Just get it out there.
Okay. I certainly agree with you there. And I mean, I guess how do you feel about how this game's going to go? Are you fairly confident in our ability to win this game tomorrow or Saturday?
Absolutely. I think this may be quite possibly the best game we see from the defense all year. Even putting that Florida State game.
Yeah.
I think this is a Duke offense that is turnover prone, definitely. They are 126 in the nation in takeaways per game. I mean, I'm sorry, giveaways per game. 126. They like to turn the ball over. They average 3 a game. So I think this may be a game where we see the turnover chain several times, and I think eventually that's what's going to be, the deciding factor. Duke just cannot keep up because they can't sustain drives.
Yeah. Okay. 126. I knew they turned the ball over, but goddamn.
126, 3.3.
Okay, so I have a question actually for both you guys. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter on the timeline today. Mackenzie Milton from UCF is going to be hitting the transfer portal. He's a quarterback.
I figured we was going here.
Eric, I'll ask you first. Do you see him as a potential take for Manny Diaz and the Canes?
I don't know, man. I'm scared, to be honest with you.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Because if you lean on a grad transfer at quarterback like they did with Derek King, like I want to know for sure he's able to play, he's ready to go. No offense to Mackenzie Milton, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, is he able to play? I mean, I know he's been cleared, but is it going to be kind of sort of like another Alex Smith situation where, in DC, yeah, Alex Smith is on the field, but let's be quite honest here. He's not himself, and he probably never will be because of that knee injury. I don't want them to go into 2021 leaning on Mackenzie Milton as the best option at quarterback. No offense, but I'm just not certain he's ready to play.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, just that injury is just it's scary, man, and it was so bad that it's going to affect him for the rest of his career.
Right. He hasn't played in 2 years. So let's say you fast forward the clock now. His first game next year will be the first actual live game he's played in 3 years. Like, are we sure we want to rely on that? Like, I don't know.
Jordan, what do you think?
I'm kind of with you guys. I'm up in the air. It's like, I mean, obviously it hinges on whether Derek King is coming back or not.
Right. Which he is.
Yeah, I feel fairly confident that yes. But I get what you guys are saying. The ideal move is to just have Tyler Van Dyke seize that starting position, and with no doubt in anyone's mind, right? That's ideal, and that's what I've been saying about Cozy Perry.
Right.
Is like I'd be worried if he's the starter against Alabama because that means that Tyler Van Dyke isn't that convincing, right? So ideally, no. I don't really want Mackenzie Milton. As much as I love the story, I really hope the best for him. If he came here and like he was good, then I'd be super happy. But it's not what I want.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that. The season opener next year against Alabama. Like, are we?
Oh gosh, I am not.
Now, are you guys pretty much saying that Jake Garcia is not coming? Are you guys counting on that?
Unless it's kind of like an Avante Williams, Romello Heights situation where he surprises everybody on signing day and switches to mine. I just don't. I think if it was going to happen, he would have at least decommitted from USC at this point. But yeah, I just don't really see it happening, and it's hard because they've only played 3 games, but USC's 3-0. I mean, it looks like things are good there for the time being, but yeah. What stinks is that I think we laid all of our eggs into one basket for the remaining 6 months of this recruiting period, and we do that so much.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
And we're at this position every single year where it's December and we don't have a quarterback signed. Yeah. And I want to ask you this, moving
cornerback
into I bring this up every episode because it is time to make a change. Thoughts on Mike Rumph? Does he need to go?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but I'm not slowing down on this train.
So is this based on his recruiting history or the fact that he doesn't really develop corners the way he thought?
That. So many people just make the argument that he can't recruit. You know why he can't recruit is because he doesn't develop. I mean, who has he sent any of his cornerbacks at Miami in? And this is his 5th year. Who of his cornerbacks are playing in the NFL right now? Mike Jackson's on a practice squad, I think. Trajan Bandy may be on a practice squad. Cornelder. I mean, but it's like these kids, like a Jason Marshall. He will be playing on Sundays. Why would you want to come and play cornerback for Miami when I don't know? Like it's just time to make a change. Like our cornerbacks are just average at best. I mean, DJ Ivey and Al Blades should be so much better than they are right now.
Yeah.
And I think that outweighs the lack of recruiting. Those are my thoughts. And what do you think?
Now, what's interesting about this is Rump definitely, of course, has deep roots on the recruiting trail in Miami. As far as, just him having the ability to, to go from high school to high school to be able to talk to these guys. He has those roots because, of course, he's Mike Rump. Now, I'll give you that. He can definitely develop the relationship, but it is a problem. He can't close the deal. And I'm not talking on just, a couple corners here and there. Like it's literally, we see a gang of corners leave Miami every year, and it's insane the amount of times that we've seen it. And this year, I'm afraid we may not even get one. I mean, I know we're kind of holding out hope on Markevious Brown, but you know what? I don't know. It seems like it's still going to be last minute up in the air with him too.
It's so frustrating.
So frustrated. And I think what makes it even more tough is the fact that he's Mike Rump. Like if he was just a regular cornerbacks coach that never even played at Miami, we'd be like, okay, whatever, it's time for this guy to go. No, he's Mike Rump. Like we're telling one of the best defenders over the last 20, 25 years with the program that he's not cutting it. It's tough, man. It really is. I think it depends. I don't even know if I want it to depend on the fact that he can't convince an 18-year-old to come to the school. Like that seems a little.
Well, and the fact that we're getting 5-star players in the other positions on defense. Like how we're going to bring in Cam Kinchins and James Williams at safety, but you don't have a cornerback committed?
I mean, Banda's getting 5-star safeties off the tree. Like he's just plucking them off the trees left and right. It's incredible how we can get so many great safeties, but we can't get any great cornerbacks. Like
The recruiting at linebacker and corner really, really needs to be addressed, and same with the coaching there. Honestly,
if you ask me, I think several changes on defense, on the defensive staff need to be made.
So I guess this means you're thinking Blake Baker needs to have some range.
Oh yeah,
a little bit. Okay, all right.
I mean, he's average. He's average at best. I mean, you're taking strides with your offensive staff to turn this program into what it should be. But on defense, you're with a guy like Blake Baker and a guy like Mike Rumpf, and honestly, with a position coach like Banda, I love him as a recruiter, but as a position coach, like we're just settling for average. And I don't think we are going to be the program that we can be with those guys on our coaching staff.
Really?
Yeah, man. That's how I feel.
We need to drop a bag, man. We need to go out and we need to target a dude and make him a Godfather offer, right? Manny needs to pick who is going to make his defense